Have you ever asked yourself why some people seem to become fluent in English almost like magic, while you feel stuck in the exact same spot you were 6 months ago? You buy the books, you download the apps, and you start with so much energy. But then, 2 weeks later, the books are gathering dust and the app notifications are getting annoying. You look at others and think, are they just smarter than me? Were they born with a language gene that I'm missing? I want you to know that the answer is almost certainly no. There is a hidden engine behind fluency that has nothing to do with IQ and everything to do with how you handle the days when you just want to quit. Today, we are going to fix that. Intro. Hello, everyone. Today we are going to explore the psychological superpower that separates the learners who reach fluency from the ones who stop halfway. We're diving deep into a concept that changed the way psychologists look at success. It's not about how fast your brain works. It's about a specific quality identified by researcher Angela Duckworth. It's called grit. Now, you might have seen videos with titles like Why You Fail at Learning English, and they usually tell you that you're using the wrong flashcards or not listening enough. But the reality is deeper than that. The method doesn't matter if you don't have the fuel to keep using it. We're going to break down exactly how to build this grit so you never give up again. The core concept: passion plus perseverance. So, what is grit? It sounds like a tough, aggressive word, doesn't it? But Angela Duckworth defines it simply as passion and perseverance for long-term goals. It means having a dream, like speaking English fluently, and staying loyal to that dream not just for a week, not just for a month, but for years. When you look at successful English learners, you aren't seeing people who never felt lazy. You aren't seeing people who never got bored. You are seeing people who felt lazy, felt bored, and felt stupid, but they did the work anyway. Talent is overrated. Let's talk about the biggest myth in language learning: talent. Duckworth studied students, military cadets, and salespeople. Do you know what she found? The most talented people were not always the most successful. In fact, sometimes having a high IQ or a natural ear for languages can be a trap. Imagine two learners. Let's call them Sarah and Mike. Sarah is naturally gifted. She picks up vocabulary instantly. She barely has to study. But because it comes easy, she gets bored when it gets hard. As soon as she hits a complex grammar rule, she quits because she's not used to struggling. Then there's Mike. Mike struggles. He forgets words. He has a thick accent, but Mike has grit. He accepts that it's hard and he keeps going. In the long run, the talented Sarah drops out and the struggling Mike becomes fluent. If you feel like you aren't talented, that is actually good news. It means you have to rely on character, and character will take you further than talent ever could. This brings us to the most practical part of grit: consistency. Many people think they need to study for 4 hours a day to make up for lost time. They try to sprint. But language learning isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. There is a popular search for the best way to learn English fast, but the honest truth is that fast usually leads to burnout. The gritty learner understands the power of the compound effect. Think about it this way. One person studies for 5 hours on Sunday, then does nothing for the rest of the week because they're exhausted. Another person studies for just 15 minutes, but they do it every single day. After 6 months, the person who studies every day will be miles ahead. Why? Because their brain is constantly active. They're building a habit, not just cramming information. Grit is about showing up for those 15 minutes, even when you're tired, even when your favorite show is on TV. Now, we have to talk about the enemy of grit: the fear of failure. The author of the book studied successful people and found a common trait. They don't view failure as a stop sign. They view it as data. Let's say you try to speak to a native speaker. You stumble, you use the wrong tense, and they look at you with a confused face. In that moment, you feel hot, embarrassed, and you want to run away. A person without grit says, "I'm no good at this, I quit." A person with grit says, "Okay, that didn't work. Why? Maybe I spoke too fast. Maybe I need to review that vocabulary. I will try again tomorrow." There is a story of a soldier who failed a crucial exam 3 times. Most people would have walked away in shame, but he didn't. He studied harder, he changed his strategy, and eventually he passed. In language learning, you have to be willing to be that soldier. You have to be willing to sound silly today so you can sound eloquent tomorrow.
The evolution of passion. A lot of people wait for passion to strike them like lightning. They think they need to be desperately in love with English grammar to succeed. But Duckworth argues that passion isn't always instant. It's like a relationship. It grows over time. Maybe you started learning English just because you had to for school or a job. That's fine. But as you stick with it, you start to find things you love. You understand a lyric in a song. You watch a movie without subtitles. You have a conversation with someone from a different culture. Suddenly, it's not just a subject. It's a tool that connects you to the world. That is when passion ignites. But you have to stay in the game long enough to find that passion. If you quit in the first month, you never get to the part where it becomes fun. Purpose is your why. To keep that passion alive, you need purpose. Purpose is the engine of grit. It's the deep answer to the question, why am I doing this? If your answer is, because I should, that's not enough. You need a reason that touches your heart. Maybe it's to provide a better life for your family by getting a remote job. Maybe it's to travel the world and not feel like an outsider. Maybe it's to help your children with their homework so they can have a bright future. When you're exhausted and you don't want to study, your purpose is what drags you out of bed. It reminds you that this isn't just about words and grammar. It's about your life's vision. Deliberate practice versus passive consumption. We also need to talk about how gritty people practice. There is a big difference between doing and improving. You can listen to podcasts for 3 years and not get better if you aren't paying attention. That's passive. Gritty people engage in what is called deliberate practice. This is the hard work. It's not just listening. It's pausing the audio and repeating the sentence until your mouth hurts. It's writing a journal entry and then checking your own mistakes. It's the stuff that isn't always fun. Think of it like a muscle. If you lift a weight that is too light, your muscles won't grow. You need to lift a weight that is just a little bit too heavy. That struggle is where the learning happens. If your study session feels easy, you probably aren't growing. If it feels frustrating, congratulations, you are learning. Hope is a verb. Finally, the book talks about hope. But this isn't the kind of hope where you cross your fingers and wish for the best. This is active hope. It is the belief that you have control over your outcome. It is the belief that your brain is plastic. It can change and grow. If you didn't understand the lesson today, it doesn't mean you're stupid. It means you haven't learned it yet. That little word, yet, is powerful. So, my friends, I want you to look at your English journey differently starting today. Stop looking for the magic shortcut. Stop worrying about how talented you are. Instead, focus on building your grit. Find your deep purpose. Commit to the tiny daily consistency. Embrace the embarrassment of mistakes. And remember, you are not born with grit. It is something you build, day by day, choice by choice. You have everything inside you right now to reach fluency. You just have to decide to keep walking the path, even when it rains. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this video helped ignite that fire in you, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel reach more learners like you. And don't forget to subscribe to English Glow for more deep dives into how to master this language. I'll see you in the next one. Keep learning and keep glowing.